Ladies and gentlemen, our top focus right now is from Nepal. A massive flash flood in Nepal has killed at least 95 people and left hundreds missing, triggering a major rescue operation and putting authorities across India-Nepal border on high alert. At least 105 Indians are among 291 foreign nationals reported missing after the sudden flooding in Nepal's Rasuwa district. The disaster has also prompted an immediate response from India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken to Nepal Prime Minister Balendra, conveyed his condolences and assured Nepal of all possible humanitarian and relief assistance. Along the India-Nepal border, the Sashastra Seema Bal has activated 11 rescue and relief teams, while 7 more have been kept on standby. Indian authorities are closely monitoring river systems that could see rising water levels because of flooding upstream. The focus is particularly on the Kosi Narayani river basins, along with vulnerable districts in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Uttarakhand linked to the Ghagra, Karnali and Mahakali river systems. But now comes the bigger question. What exactly triggered this sudden flood? And is there a larger China factor in the disaster? Officials have indicated that the flood was not caused simply by localized rainfall around the affected area. According to Kathmandu Post, Rajan Bhakta Kayastha, a professor at Kathmandu University and climate researcher, said the preliminary assessment was based on discussions with scientists in Nepal and China. He said an ice avalanche from Nepal's side appeared to have fallen into the Lhende River and blocked the flow. An earthquake also occurred on the Tibetan side around the same time. And this is where experts are also looking at several possible explanations. One possibility is the Glacial Lake Outburst Flood. Scientists are also investigating whether a glacial lake outburst contributed to the disaster. Kayastha, in fact, believes that it could take several days to establish whether that was a possibility. This has been reported by the Kathmandu Post. Landslide temporarily blocking a river is another thing that has been looked into. But there's another issue attracting attention, the scale of infrastructure development in Tibet. China has undertaken a massive infrastructure push across the Tibetan plateau, including roads, bridges and tunnels, rail links and hydropower projects. Environmental concerns have previously been raised about the impact of large-scale construction in this extremely fragile Himalayan ecosystem. Journalists in Nepal have raised questions around failed attempt to provide Kathmandu with an early warning of the flash floods that swept through several villages and destroyed infrastructure along the Nepal-China border. What experts will need to determine is whether the infrastructure activity, land disturbance, drainage changes or other human interventions altered the stability of the upper catchment or amplified the consequences of an extreme natural event. That investigation becomes particularly important because the Himalayas are already experiencing rapid environmental change. The damage has extended to Nepal's power infrastructure. Many parts, there's been a power outage. Any major surge in the Himalayan river systems can have consequences downstream, and that is why authorities in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand are keeping a close watch on vulnerable areas for alerts for these regions. For now, of course, the focus remains on rescue operations. I'm being joined by Anul Sood, who's an environmentalist. Thank you, sir. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Very disturbing visuals that are coming in from Nepal. I think the extent of the damage is something that's going to unfold in days to come. There are over 300 people who are missing, 250 plus foreign nationals, 100 plus Indians who are missing as well. It's going to be, I think by the hour, by the days, we will see the death toll increase. That's going to be a big concern, Mr. Anil Sood. But give us a sense of how this region is. You know, when you look at these visuals, I think this is worse than the earthquake impact that we saw a few years ago. Now, what is this region about? How is this region being impacted? What are the big red flags that you're really looking at?
See, these are young mountains, first of all. And these are narrow ravine areas which are prone to flash floods. And on top of it, because of global warming, the glacial lakes have been formed over there. And on top of it, what has added to huge construction activity was going on and is still going on, not only in this part of the region, but all along Indo-China border. Hydropower projects, it's a serious issue. Hydropower project means you have to have a dam also to store the water. Now, once there is a glacial outburst, has anyone ever assessed the capacity of holding capacity of the dam for hydropower project? Answer is no, because all these calculations are done only on existing parameters. Nobody till today, even scientists also will struggle to find out what caused this flash floods. As you have rightly said, they are still assessing the cause. And the cause apparently appears to be number one, there may be an earthquake which led to avalanche block in the upper region. And after that, some time with the pressure, there was sudden outburst of glacial lake. So rain cannot be so devastating in these areas. It cannot be because of rain. If you see, look at uh, the way water is flowing and what water is carrying, it's all rubble along with water. So which shows that entire region is young mountain of Himalaya, which are nothing but made out of rubble and unstable. If you go on adding load to these Himalayas, nature is bound to, you know, bound to rather take revenge.
Look at the
So it's
force. Just the one can
force.
understand the impact of this only just by looking at the visuals, the might, the fury of nature, as it were. These are bridges, settlements that are being swept away in its entirety.
See, that's the first and first problem is that how did settlement these cities, towns, villages, or settlements happen along with the river bank? You see how narrow is the river which is flowing through the Himalayas. If you look at the size of the river, this also adds to the force and fury of the devastating impact.
Right. In fact,
See,
Mr. Anil Sood, if I can ask you this, construction in this area is also a big concern.
yes.
And now there are, in fact, journalists in Nepal have raised concerns about the rampant construction in Tibet and
Yes,
also no alerts that were given out from
they
China.
don't have infrastructure, and China will never disclose, because the moment China disclose, it has to own up the destruction caused by its activities. This area, as it is, should have been and must have been left untouched. You see this visual, how dangerous this visual is. Entire border is swept away within no time. So you can't play with Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is bound to take revenge. And Mother Nature's revenge is far more forceful than anybody can imagine. Scientists till today could not predict whether any earthquake can happen or not. They can assess the possibility of forthcoming earthquakes or not. Scientists could not find till today. Similarly, even glacial lake outbursts also, they can assess. They can only assess the area, they can only assess the force. But when it will happen, how it will happen, nobody can predict. And one has to be very careful in entire this border, not only Indo-Tibetan border, even Himachal, Uttarakhand, J&K, they are sitting on 87 major lakes. Just imagine one glacial outburst and how the downstream cities and towns will be impacted. You can't imagine.
You know, even as we are speaking, apparently there are studies that have emerged that the glacial lake surge are at least fivefold in just about 3 decades.
Yes,
While that's the details that are emerging, I also very quickly want to talk about India's outreach to Nepal. India has India has spoken, Prime Minister Modi has spoken to Nepal Prime Minister, very close ties. They have rushed aid, but the impact of what's happening in Nepal has put Indian states on alert as well.
Yes, because after all, it's our border neighbor, and again, India and Nepal were considered to be very close friends, barring few strange incidents in the past. In last about 4 or 5 years, otherwise, India and Nepal never had very strong relationship and bond. And it's good that Indian Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, has reached out to Nepal Prime Minister to extend the support. But again, states, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and part of Uttarakhand, which is the bordering area, these rivers, Koshi and other rivers, which will be impacted. One has to be, administration has to be on their toes so as
Absolutely.
to preempt whether any further damage can be caused in downstream area, border areas of Nepal,
Right.
and everybody has to be on their toes. And I hope that sanity prevails and bureaucrats
Right.
they work together as a cohesive team to
Right.
save the people.
Right, Mr. Anil Sood, thank you very much for joining us. Prayers
Thank-
for Nepal from our side.
Yes,
Um, Next few days are going to be very critical. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you.